So let's talk imposter syndrome because I would say next to fear, this is like the number one thing besides fear that comes up for people when they start to up level and move into the new things in life that feel really aligned. And that's because it's just part of the process. And the sooner we accept that, the sooner that we can move on and experience that next level us. But we have to come to this resistance point, which can feel really confusing, conflicting. It can really throw us for a loop because it's really tough. It's a really tough thing because it's like a moment of facing ourselves and the reality that we still have unworthiness stuff to deal with and not feeling enough and wondering if it's even possible to do the things we want to do. And you know what? Unfortunately, a lot of people feel those moments of doubt and they stop and they stop progressing and they just go back to what was comfortable because they're afraid to face themselves. And so when imposter syndrome comes up for you, I want you to see it as, again, like we've talked about in previous videos, it's just information, but it's also a really helpful tool that can show you if you get past this certain thing, because usually imposter syndrome gives us a very specific area that we need to work on. It brings up a specific fear, a specific doubt, a specific loop in our mind that we say over and over again. So if we can see this specific data point as actually really helping us pinpoint the area that we need to kind of move through, then we can get to our next level self. We can get to our goals faster, so we want to embrace this moment. So in the links below, there's going to be a couple exercises that are going to have you really work through that and really overcome imposter syndrome and just kind of, have a process for yourself in getting through. But I also want to talk about it a little bit more in this video and help you understand that imposter syndrome is normal. Again, it's just part of the process of leveling up and moving into the next version of ourselves. And the thing is, it doesn't stop. Every time you hit another level, it just shows up again, but it brings another specific thing to keep in mind. So I want you to just have the expectation that you're never going to get rid of this. It's just going to show up in different forms. So accept that, learn how to overcome and deal with it now. So that way, next time it hits, it doesn't hit as hard or for as long. It can be a short-lived thing. Information, work through it, become stronger. So a couple of things I want you to also consider when it comes to imposter syndrome is the fact that when we are stuck in this mode, typically what's happening is we are sitting there comparing ourselves to everyone around us, not feeling enough, constantly feeling like we have to prove ourselves. And we're stuck in this me zone. If you really think about it, your head is so focused on yourself that you've lost sight of reality and what's even going on. So what we need to do is take the spotlight off of ourselves in these moments and think about, okay, let's zoom out for a second. How can I put the spotlight on somebody else? How can I give back to them? How can I think about everything a little bit differently? Because once you take the pressure off yourself, you can live easier. You can breathe easier. It doesn't have to be so intense and catastrophic and all about you all the time, right? So the first link is going to be a really great tool to help you take that spotlight off of yourself and start working through a few different ways of seeing it differently and also bringing perspective into the journey that you've had up to this point. Because another part of imposter syndrome is we're just not acknowledging or having gratitude for how far we've come. We're not appreciating where we're at in the journey. We're constantly seeking more. We're constantly chasing something and feeling like we need to be like that over there versus where we are now and feeling, where we are is good and living in that and appreciating that. So, that I really want you to go through the first link. That's really going to help you dive into more of that. But then the second link that I have for you, I call it the stop, start, continue list. And this is where we really get to see, who we want to be, because the whole point of the first exercise is to really dive into, what's going on, kind of how do we take the pressure off ourselves to get where we want to go. Well, the second link is helping us understand where we want to go. so we can, again, bring perspective into the right areas. So I want you to really work through who you want to be in the next 3, 6, 9 months, and really think from that perspective of, what are the things you need to stop doing in order to move into that version of you? What are the things you need to start doing? What are the rituals and habits you need to start creating now so you're in alignment with the person that you want to be? What are the things that you're doing already that are great, that you want to double up on, that can really enhance that next level version of you? And when we start putting focus in these ways about ourselves versus, really beating ourselves up constantly for not being enough, but we put energy into how can we be more of what I want to be, then that is a more empowering state. And that is going to help you, lift the frustration from yourself and just really focus on moving in the direction that you want to be. So go through those exercises, have fun with it. Don't do it as homework. Maybe put some fun music on, grab a glass of wine or beer, or whatever you want to drink, and or water, whatever. Just have some fun with it and make it a moment for yourself. Put on great music or a fun show in the background. Enjoy this process and see it as just, you're creating and releasing. And, the more that you can do that, the more that you can step into who you truly want to be. And the more you are moving more into who you want to be, honestly, the more that the comparison just kind of sloughs off and it doesn't, have as much of a hold on you, because you know where you're going and you're giving yourself kudos along the way. And you're understanding, yourself through this. So I'm excited for you to go through these exercises and to see, really what you gather from it all.